Okay, let's just get straight to the point. You know that popular idea that Adam Smith's self-interest is really just a fancy way of saying greed? Well, it turns out that's one of the biggest, most fundamental misunderstandings in all of modern economics.
Welcome to the MoniLytics channel, where money meets research.
All right, let's really get into this. For centuries, Adam Smith has been held up as this poster boy for selfishness. You know, the guy who supposedly gave us the green light for a greed is good system, where everyone's just out for themselves. And this whole idea, it pretty much all comes down to one single, incredibly famous quote. Right, this quote. This is almost always presented as Exhibit A, the ultimate proof that the entire market runs on pure, simple self-interest. The idea is we get what we need because other people are busy trying to get what they need. It sounds so straightforward, doesn't it? But what if that key word, interest, doesn't actually mean what we've all been led to believe? That right there is the million-dollar question. Because if we've been getting that one critical word wrong this whole time, then we've been getting Adam Smith wrong. And maybe, just maybe, we've been getting capitalism wrong too. Now, this whole mix-up isn't exactly new. In fact, it's created a huge, centuries-long debate among scholars. And the core of the problem is this. How could the very same person write two major books that seem to completely contradict each other on, of all things, human nature itself? It's such a well-known puzzle, it even has a cool German name, Das Adam Smith Problem. It's this intellectual riddle that puts his two greatest works head-to-head, making it look like he had some kind of massive change of heart about humanity in the years between writing them. And this lays out the conflict perfectly. On one hand, you've got the theory of moral sentiments. It's this deep, philosophical work that argues our entire moral compass is built on sympathy, our ability to connect with and care about what others are feeling. But then, on the other hand, you have The Wealth of Nations, basically the founding text of capitalism, which seems to say society works best when we all just chase our own self-interest. Sympathy versus self-interest. So how on earth can the same guy be the champion of both ideas? Well, it turns out the solution to this whole Copland lies in just redefining that one key term. The entire contradiction just evaporates once you understand what Adam Smith really meant by self-interest. It wasn't about greed, it wasn't about selfishness. For Smith, it was actually a classic virtue. And here's the absolute game changer. For Adam Smith, self-interest is prudence. It's the simple, sensible, and yes, virtuous act of taking care of your own business, your health, your finances, your future. It's not about taking advantage of people, it's about making sure your own house is in order. And Smith saw this not as some necessary evil, but as the absolute foundation of a good and virtuous life. You see, Smith laid out these virtues like a pyramid. At the very bottom, the foundation supporting everything else is prudence. That's self-interest. You have to take care of yourself first. Only when that's solid can you build the next layer, which is justice and self-command. You know, how you treat other people fairly. And only when that is secure can you reach for the top, the highest virtue of all, benevolence, which is actively helping others. And all of a sudden, the theory of moral sentiments doesn't seem like a contradiction anymore, does it? It's actually the moral instruction manual for the wealth of nations. It's the framework that keeps the self-interest of the market from spiraling into the ugly vice of greed. Just think about the story of the Good Samaritan for a second. The only reason he could help the injured man on the side of the road was because he had prudently taken care of his own affairs first, right? He had a donkey, he had oil and wine, he had money in his pocket. A poor, starving Good Samaritan couldn't have helped anybody. It was his prudence, his self-interest, that made his benevolence possible. You just can't pour from an empty cup. And hey, just so we're crystal clear, here's Smith himself in his own words from his big book on morality. He's basically putting a hard limit on self-love. He is completely explicit. Your self-interest has to operate within a moral context. It does not give you a free pass to harm other people for your own gain. The well-being of others puts a boundary on how you can pursue your own goals. So let's bring it all together. There is no Das Adam Smith problem. There aren't two different Adam Smiths. There is one single, incredibly consistent philosopher who had a unified vision for how a society can be both prosperous and ethical. So here it is, the true vision. Self-interest is just another word for prudence, the vital virtue of taking care of yourself. Greed, on the other hand, is its twisted, excessive, and destructive corruption. Prudence is the absolute first step you have to take before you can even think about being charitable. And all of this economic activity, It happens inside a shared moral world, where things like trust and virtue aren't just fluffy nice-to-haves, they are the essential oil that keeps the entire engine of society running smoothly. So maybe it's time to stop trying to be nice and start being useful, first to yourself, so that you can then be of real use to everyone else. And that leaves us with one last really critical question to think about. If Smith's entire system is built on this virtue of prudence, what happens to a society that constantly confuses it with the vice of greed, and in some cases even celebrates it? If you found this research valuable, please like the video, subscribe to MoniLytics, and check out the affiliate links in the description to support the channel. And stay tuned for our next deep dive, where we'll be shifting our focus to who's really in charge, the invisible force controlling the economy.